Hello, I'm Jennifer Witt, Director of ProjectManager.com. Well, welcome to our whiteboard session today on what is project risk control. There's so many questions about it. When do we do it? How do we do it? How often do we do it? So hopefully today with this whiteboard session we'll answer a few questions, but knowing that there are courses, entire courses taught on just this one subject because it's so critical to a project. So first of all, many of the whiteboard sessions on these type topics, we start off by talking about something very critical to the project related to the triple constraint. So the triple constraint, if you consider the project plan documenting the items of the triple constraint, including the scope, which we're talking about the deliverables, the cost, which we're talking about the cost and the budget of the project, the time and the schedule, as well as the quality components. So the reason we start out by talking about this is because these changes in these variables also interject risk to the project, and outside risk also, other things occurring also impact these as well. So we want to look at how do we document these, how do we manage, how do we control them. So this is just a high-level process to let you know some of the important things that we need to do when we're monitoring and controlling the risk. So first of all, we want to identify the risk. So we look at different components in the beginning of the project. We look at different documents. We look at the scope we have to identify, the requirements, the deliverables we're producing. We analyze and we look at the costs, we look at the budgets to see if we can identify any risk there. We also look at the schedule, any kind of dependencies or any kind of constraints to see if we can find any risk there. And also the quality, what quality are we expecting and what items can impact the quality. And then we also try to identify other factors like outside factors, any kind of constraints or assumptions that we've made about the project, any kind of environmental or organizational type factors that could interject risk. So we look at all of those, we identify them, we document them in the risk register. If you're unfamiliar with a risk register or a risk log is, then feel free to look at one of our other whiteboard sessions there where we talk about that in a little more detail. But once we document those, then we start evaluating the risk. We look at them in more detail. For every risk, we want to try to we make a qualitative analysis and a quantitative analysis. So we look for every risk, we determine the probability. How probable is it that this risk event will occur? And then if it does, what would be the impact? Is it a big impact to the project or is it just a small impact to the project? And with that information, we begin prioritizing the risk. And then once we have the risk, this information, we can look at the effect. If this risk event would occur with this information, what would the impact be to our project and our objectives? So we do that for every risk, and again, we use that information to develop or come up with or plan for our risk response. So knowing this information for every risk, what are some proposed risk responses? And we like to have multiple ones. It's great to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, or multiple plans or multiple responses for each risk. And then again, continuing to control those risks. With this information, then we begin controlling these, documenting them, tracking them throughout the entire project. If you need a tool that can help you manage your risk on your project, then sign up for our software now at ProjectManager.com.